Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Nargis Zahra with another episode of Women and Power Redressing the Balance. And today I have with me a lady who is I think I'm going to take her as an example in my life. She is very inspirational, not only for herself and her own journey in life, but for so many people who are around her. And when I met her, when I had a meeting with her, I went to meet a social activist, the person who's working for people and has empathy and humanism in her. But when I met her, I was like, oh my God, I am gonna meet some walking, alive, breathing saint, not in the books, but in real. And that was the real feeling. I welcome on board Miss Christina Flowers, and I am really honored to have you on board with me. There are rarely humans like you that I have met in my life. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much.
Well, I thank you for having me on. Also, I thank you a bunch for the meeting the other day because it just really gives me an opportunity to be able to really share with different cultures, different individuals, the urgency of the crisis um, within homelessness. So I'm so grateful that we had that meeting because it gave me an opportunity to really get to know you a little and to know that you're willing your humbleness to understand really pours out. So I thank you for having me and even wanting to continue to share this story across the nation. Even in my travels of Nigeria, I'm constantly learning the importance of humanity and how important it is that we capture our responsibilities within humanity.
So, thank you so much for giving us a brief introduction. By hanging you, like I was gonna tell people, Miss Christina Flowers, as I have come to know her, is an, I would say, an angelic advocate, but not that smiling angel you're looking at. She can go to lengths for assuring rights of the people who are homeless, and she is a person who I am now observing, like, is right in the early hours in the morning. She is at their places, wherever they are camping, wherever they are sleeping, to attend to their different needs and things, providing for them, speaking for them, and in fact fighting for them against different forces. So she is a true advocate of the homeless, and she also has a ministry. That was something which surprised me, because these days we don't come across people whoever have ministries, at least in my humble and limited experience. They are in the churches. They are for those ceremonies and for those speeches kind of thing. But having a minister with you in the street working for the people, that was something awesome. And what is this bridge project? You just educate our viewers a bit about it, Ms. Christina.
Well, one of the things, and I thank you because one of the things about ministry, even training in ministry, um, as a minister, learning the importance of ministry is the people. If you
Hmm.
think about ministry, you have to always consider the people better than yourself. That's a big part of ministry. And it just becomes easier to adjust when you're dealing with a population of individuals who are homeless, houseless. There's a lot of terms we could use, unsheltered, street homeless, because a lot of them live in the streets and a lot of them live under bridges and they live in the woods. So
Yeah.
once we start identifying these locations and once we start prioritizing these locations, we can really start as a country, as a nation, to end homelessness because we have to learn to engage. And everybody may not got the gift and talent to engage, but once you
Mhm.
learn to engage, the ministry part kicks in, you learn to love. So that's why I become more of a love for the homeless community and my homeless family, because it's like ministry and love goes together.
So that takes me to a point. It's a beautiful thing that you highlighted, that when you work for them and you like you take humanity and you go to them, but you get engaged. When you get
Mhm.
engaged and the ministry part and the compassion, then you get involved as a human,
Yes,
and there comes the
yes,
deeper part. And your feelings get involved. That is, I think, what makes you wake up in the winters and the summers and all the seasons, and obviously you're a human, you might not be feeling similar each day of your life. We have some days when we don't want to get out of the bed, especially during the morning, but you're all out there for them. Means when there are humans, then there are humans who work for these people, the
yes.
people in policy making, the people in, I would say, politics or bureaucracy. Do you think they share same empathy towards homeless people?
Well, one of the things that we have to do, and I'm going to say we because when you're looking at political interests and you're looking at political leaders, they have a system to run. They have to run a system according to whether it's the government, whether it's the state, whether it's HUD, they have to run the system. But when
Mhm.
you're looking again, when we're talking about homelessness, humanity, we're talking about the love of Jesus Christ, we're talking about serving the people. We cannot really compare the two. The way we can compare the two is because we know we have to have leadership, we have to have political entities, but
Mhm.
we we have chosen, or God has chosen us to be able to identify the most vulnerable things of life. And when you're looking at what you can become in any given day, because I've had the privilege to engage individuals that are homeless that probably was once millionaires, or they probably was once working in a hospital and being a doctor. I've ran into carpenters. I've ran into people that um, are you and me, everyday
Yeah.
people. So we can't, we just like we have to look at them and give them their own identity. We have to look at politicians and give them their role too. The politician's role is to work for the people. And
So,
sometimes,
yes, please.
yeah, sometimes we as people, whether it's the constituents, whether it's the citizens, we forget our role. Our role is to, you know, help them to serve us. Now,
Oh,
if a certain population is not utilizing that, then we become that voice, we become that activist, we become that advocate, because that population may not be identified at the
so
table.
that's perfect. Pardon me. So that's perfect. That's perfect in the sense because now I have got the link. Um, for the people, the link is that politicians are there to serve people because there are many who keep
Mhm.
criticizing politicians, and then the politicians need identifications, and the identifications come from the ground, from the people like you, the people who live and exist in
Yeah,
the people, chosen to
they have
interact
to
with
be.
the people.
Our politicians need to connect with the people. They have become so disconnected from the people, from the leaders, from the advocates, from the activists. They have become so disconnected from us because they have to operate their system. But we supposed to be engaging the people. So that's why it becomes such a struggle for the activists and the advocates to really partner and work with the politicians, with our mayors, with our council people, with our executives, because they basically should be finding the good in the hood. Does that make sense? They should
Yes.
be looking, they should come into office looking for the good in any community or neighborhood. They should
Yes.
identify. They should identify with the Christina Flowers. They should
Yes.
identify with the no shoot zones. They should identify with so many. different black, let me add the word black, nonprofit organizations,
Yeah.
they're not identifying with us because they're more intimidated, or they're more um, I don't want to use the word of fear, but it's something about that partnership that they feel like it's a high risk. They feel like if you're a rebel or if you're an activist, you're a high risk, or people may not want to work with you. But when work is being done, just like the work we have to do right now, um, and I know the work that we have to continue to do is to be the light in a dark situation, because homelessness can be a dark place, and a lot of us know
Yes.
experiences of a dark place.
Exactly. So I think the we're using this the word you said, rebel. I think there is no one rebel like that. If your rights are not heard, then you have to raise your voice a bit to be heard.
Hmm.
Not that you are going against some policy. It's just that you are trying to be heard. So I think that's the only thing which is relevant to the black activists over here. And there are like I think then the politicians keep coming in the term and they're going out of the term. But how long have you been working? I think 2 decades. It's been 2 decades now.
Well, this has been the first decade has always been a housing component, but basically, I've been working with the homeless community for 10 years now.
Wow. Wow.
Yes. So
So how
it's always been that population of vulnerable adults, seniors. I've always had the privilege to serve in the caregiving field. That's why we say real care providers. That's why we call ourselves real care providers,
Mhm.
because you really have to care for the individuals that you're providing the services for. That's why that political entity
Mhm.
and that spiritual entity is so disconnected, because we have to serve the people. Our purpose is for the people.
Do you think the pandemic has affected the number of homeless people?
The pandemic has severely affected the number of homelessness. It's going to continue to affect the number of homelessness, because we're going to be dealing with a high number of evictions. So we are coming into a whole different phase of the coronavirus and the effects of it, because a time such as now is why it needs to be an urgency for us to utilize the resources. And when I think of even the new upcoming homeless individuals who never experienced street homelessness before, we should be even more proactive as
Mhm.
God's people. We should be more proactive when dealing with our street homelessness now, the ones under the bridges, the ones in the woods, because we're going to have a whole new population of homeless people in the next 6 months.
So you think the one thing that I want to highlight, I know people know about it, but I want people to feel a bit more thing because when you are homeless, then this is not only a roof that you are missing above your head. What you are missing is the sense of groundedness. What you are missing is so many belongings and the possessions that a normal person needs or has at home, and you cannot keep or carry with you. And
But
then
let me shine a light on that. You're missing family.
exactly.
You have homeless fathers. You have
Yeah.
homeless mothers. See, we got to take our mind, and I heard what you said. Sometimes when we see homeless people, we just feel like they missing, I'm missing my shoes, I'm missing my roof over my head. They are missing a foundation of family. They missing their children. They're having experiences on the street because they can't even get to engage with their children, some of them.
Oh,
So it goes, we got to take our mind, we got to take our mind a little deeper, instead of just seeing the immediate homelessness and the effects. Like a lot of people be like, let's take them something to eat. Let's give them some clothes, or let's give them some toiletries. Let's give them their basic needs. But sometimes we have to stop and think, what does trauma do to individuals who become broken families?
Oh. So do you engage psychological help for them, emotional help for them, because they obviously need emotional support as much
They
as they
need a
need.
wrap. They need every wraparound services that they are entitled to. And when you look at the budget, I know the last budget of homeless services was somewhere in the areas of 45 to 50 million dollars. And when you're
Mhm.
looking at that type of money of services, and you're looking at the effects that homelessness is doing to our culture right now, then shame on us as a city. Shame on us as a city that we even allow certain types of money to go mismanaged or misappropriated when it's dealing with people's lives and it's dealing with humanity.
Wow. So that's such a painful picture, because I have seen some homeless people standing on the signals outside the McDonald's and the Walmart, and it really gives you a pang that where would they go to sleep for the night, and
Mhm.
keeping all belongings in one bag, or and especially the harsh winters. That's the thing. So really, I'm short of words to like how touched I am by the services, because this is something so very difficult to provide for them, and obviously everything involves money. If you have to buy even a toothbrush for them, you need to get money from somewhere. And as you said, that pandemic has hit them, and I can see that you're at your working place, you're like kind of multitasking or something, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you
I
so much.
definitely, I definitely have to start multitasking, because we are preparing for a winter storm,
Oh
and
yes, there are
and
there are forecasts.
yeah, so part of our winter storm is under the bridge. So we definitely are in preparation to return back there. I'm definitely enjoying this interview, but I know I have to start multitasking because we don't want the snow to fall and we be unprepared the best of
Yes,
our ability. So I
yes,
definitely would like the viewers, I would definitely want to make sure our information is out there for your viewers if they want to
yeah.
reach out, if they want to really be an impact and help what we're doing right now. We're dealing with a serious encampment under I-83, and it's so obvious in our city that our city officials have no solution at this moment, or instead of just dealing with one encampment, we have about 13 encampments all around our city, all
Okay.
around Baltimore City, and then it goes into Baltimore County. We have encampments, little
Mhm.
pockets of encampments, big encampments, medium encampments. We have too many encampments around our city. So if your viewers want to learn more, they want to be focused and working with us as partners, as a
Yeah.
nonprofit, they can definitely reach out to me.
Or
I
as
can leave
volunteers,
information.
because we have youth also, we have a youth wing also.
Yes, yes,
Perfect. Perfect.
yes.
Because they could be of some help. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I won't stop you
Yes.
now because there is forecast of snowfall today. And maybe because of that, the routing and transportation would be disturbed as well. But thank you so
Okay.
much. Now I'm grateful for your time, and hats off to you. And we'll definitely spread the word. Thank you so much.
Well,
Have a
I
great day.
appreciate you. I will look for you in the social media world. I will definitely look forward to sharing things. Again, I appreciate this opportunity to share such vital information when it comes to what we're dealing with in Baltimore.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was really that's an honor.